Success ain't earned, it's bought. That's why at Paddy Power, we paid the big bucks for the best tech nerds in the world to develop our new, fastest ever app. Download the new app from the App Store or Play Store now. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Light the candle, Tiger!
Hi there, thank you for joining us for the Golf Postcast. It's Bruce Millington, Steve Palmer and Ian McLaughlin from Paddy Power. We are looking ahead to two absolutely fantastic tournaments this week. We've got the Dubai Desert Classic in Dubai, obviously, and we've got the Farmers Insurance Open at beautiful Torrey Pines on the west coast of America. The stars have come out this week and hopefully the boys will be tipping us some winners. But if you backed a winner last week, you were either very, very shrewd or very, very lucky because they were hard to come by. Slightly less so, I guess, in the European event where Shane Lowry did the business. But in America, there was what I would imagine is one of the greatest boilovers of all time, where Adam Long, who no one had heard of beforehand, and I still haven't heard of him, even though he somehow won over in Palm Springs. So, Ian, I guess it was a fantastic week for Paddy Power, wasn't it?
It was a brilliant week for us. Even Lowry being the Irish bookie and Irish player, he was unfound in the market before the tournament, so it was a lovely result. Obviously, in play, he went wire to wire, so that would have ate into our profits a little bit. But yeah, the US Tour was an absolute skinner. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw him.
Steve, can you just tell me what you knew about Adam Long before the event? And don't lie here. Don't try and make out you knew everything about him. But I mean, you guys know, your job is to study golf, and you know pretty much all these players. But I mean, did you have a clue who this guy was?
Yeah, I knew he was on the list of Web.com Tour graduates. I mean, that's all I knew about him. And I knew he graduated without winning. I mean, he just accumulated enough money to get his card through the Web.com Tour money list. But he hasn't won on any. Well, previously hadn't won on any of the tours he played on. He's a bit of a journeyman. I mean, he's 31 years of age. I mean, if you haven't won anywhere by the age of 31, you're kind of not worth bothering with. But it was fantastic the way he held himself together down the stretch. That second shot to the last is the shot of the year so far.
What, with the ball below his feet and a scratchy old line?
Yeah, only just managed to get over the hump, and you got water between him and the flag. I mean, that was phenomenal, phenomenal shot, really gutsy. And it's one of the few golf tournaments that I've watched where I've actually been thrilled, even though I haven't won any money on it. It's just such a beautiful moment when he looked absolutely stunned, didn't he, when he won? I think he said "Holy cow" as he came off the green. It was either "Holy cow" or "Holy crap." I'm not quite sure what he said, but he was stunned, and his little wife come on. It was a beautiful moment.
It was nice, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to win money to enjoy golf tournaments. Astonishingly.
Excellent. I mean, presumably, if you'd had 100 tips on that, you wouldn't have tipped Adam Long, would you?
No. He's 1,000 to 1 on 999 to 1 in the exchanges, and I think it's a short price.
What price was he with Paddy Power, Ian?
He was a top price. He was 1,000 to 1 with us.
It's 1,000. I mean. Yeah. You obviously don't get many 1,000 to 1 winners, but I mean, this would be one of the biggest boilovers of all time, wouldn't it? And I guess even in running, because you've got far higher profile players up there, he's not even come onto the radar then, has he?
No, even going into the final round, I think he was a 20 to 1 shot when he was 2 or 3 shots off Hadwin and Nicholson. So yeah, he was completely unfancied, and probably till the 18th green when they put to win the tournament. I think he was still like 1.9 on the exchange when he had like 12 feet to win the tournament. So yeah, that kind of shows how unfound he was in the market, really.
And Steve, would you expect him to go on and do well here or in his career, or do you think this could be one of those tournaments where you look back through the past winners and you think, blimey, Adam Long, whatever happened to him?
Well, he seemed very confident afterwards. He said he's been on an upward curve. He knew no one knew anything about him, but he said he's been improving over the last couple of years, and he wasn't as surprised as everyone else. And it was quite an interesting comment that he said he knew he was going to make that putt. Like he stood over that putt to win, and he said, I just knew I was going to make it. It was a wonderful feeling. So if he can retain those, that sort of bullishness, then he could go far. But I don't know, he's just sort of like a steady Eddie sort of player, didn't he? They're quite short courses that he played last week. He haven't got a lot of firepower, I don't think. Adam Long is not long, funnily enough. But I think, he could be, he could win again. Who knows? I mean, it's one of those results that bookmakers just laughing their socks off, and they're thinking, this is why we'll always win. I mean, Ian McLaughlin must have just been cackling away there, just thinking. We've got these sort of results. They happen quite a lot, don't they, in golf? Some 1,000 to 1 winners happen. They don't happen in horse races. There's no such thing as 1,000 to 1 horse Every sport they got no chance, but in golf they do have a chance, and quite demoralising for the punter. But I'm pleased for Ian McLaughlin.
Ian, how many bets did you take on him before the tournament started?
I'd say it was in the low teens, I would have thought. It reminds me of, just going back to the...
It wasn't the low teens, the low noughts, wasn't it?
No, you always get some people having £2 on the 500,000 to 1 shots, and they're obviously in clover now. But going back to Steve's point about Willie Will again, it reminds me of 6-7 years ago with Phil Mixon, the same situation at Quail Hollow. Do you remember Derek Ernst? He was 1,000 to 1 poke at the Wells Fargo maybe 6-7 years ago, and he won, beating Mickelson in the playoff, and he kind of thought, is this player going to go and do anything else? And he was kind of unsighted then for the next 5 years. Personally, I think that's kind of the situation. He's had his £1 million windfall almost. He's almost won the lottery in a sense, and we probably won't see him on a leaderboard again, I'd say.
Well, he's sorted for life now, isn't he?
Absolutely, yeah.
Fair play to him.
You're done. Was Shane Lowry well backed by the Irishman though? I want to see some bookmakers suffering here. Surely the Irish.
For me now, I was the in-play trader for the week, so my figures wouldn't have been great when Lowry goes wire to wire. Now pre-tournament he was fine. Obviously, your selection, Steve, would have been the biggest liabilities we'll hold. But then, as Lowry, obviously with the 62, news reports in Ireland are constantly ramping him up every evening on the news every morning. You'll hear him on the radio going. So punters will get attached to that and start backing him.
He was really well prepared, wasn't he? I didn't realise how early he'd gone out there. I mean, he spent a fortnight in Dubai preparing for it. I mean, Lowry looks really pumped up. I think he wants to get on Pod's Ryder Cup team, didn't he?
Right, yeah, that was his big goal, he said, yeah.
Okay, right, before we move on to next week, I want a takeout from each of you for each tournament. Steve, yours in America is obviously never touch Charles Howell III again.
I wonder when that was coming.
Yeah, no, I obviously had to get that in, didn't I? But it was classic Charles Howell III, wasn't it?
Just topped the greens in regulation.
Tiptoe onto the leaderboard, and then the bicycle clips come on. No, thank you. I don't want to win
He just had a cold putter. He topped the greens in regulation stats. I mean,
you keeping the faith?
No, I'm not backing him this week, but I think he got a chance this week.
Okay, so what's your US takeout, Steve?
My US takeout was Sung Jae Im. Who finished 12th on his debut in that tournament. So yeah, the young Korean Sung Jae Im, he clearly got the ability to win this season because lack of experience didn't hold him back last week.
I backed him on Ian Say So. He gave us a good run for our money, didn't he, Ian?
He did. He slow start on Thursday. He was 100. Then went 14 under par for the next 2 days, and was in the top 8 going into Sunday. I thought, right, just shoot 4 or 5 under par. Didn't hold a putt. Missed a short putt on 16 to get into the places, and then stuck it in the water on 18. So I think he finished 12th in the end. So yeah, I think he was. If you're going to ask me the same question, he would be my eye catcher of the week for sure.
Okay, so you've both taken Im out of the American tournament. What did you learn from the European event, Steve?
Well, Shane Lowry has to be the takeout because he finished second in the putting stats. I mean, if in the closed season he solved his putting problems, which were chronic and were holding him back, he's a very solid ball striker, amazing scrambler. If he's now found a putting stroke, then Shane Lowry is a serious act this season.
Okay, and Ian?
The exact same, yeah. Once his putting gets going, I was looking at him for the US Open at Pebble Beach and Royal Portrush, trying to nick a few prices there, maybe 100 to 1. If he's in that sort of form, he could go off. Like I remember 2 or 3 years ago when he was a player, when he won at Wentworth, he was going off 33 to 1 for an Open Championship. He's coming to Portrush. I know he's played it before, so he could be one to keep an eye on in the bigger tournaments going forward.
He seems a nice fella, doesn't he, Ian? Do you like him?
He's a good lad, yeah. He's a nice fella.
I liked him when Dylan Fratelli was cheating and Steve Lowry just went... Shane Lowry said, well, there's no way that sprint lead's impeding it, but if you think it is, go on, you go for it. It was brilliant. I loved the way he handled that. He went right up in my estimation. Right, Steve, before we look at the first tournament, what are your confidence levels like going into this week?
A little bit low. The Adam Long debacle. Thomas Pieters and Tom Lewis were bang in there for the each ways and then finished 9th and 16th. I mean, Thomas Pieters, dropped 3 shots in the last 5 holes to drop out the places. He has these little mental implosions.
He loses focus, doesn't he?
Yeah. I'm losing faith in Peter's temperament now. Confidence levels are low, but didn't have a winner in January last year, so I've got to be patient. Patience is the watchword.
Good man, it's a long game. Right then, we'll look at the Omega Dubai Desert Classic next.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Simply place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week, and you'll get a free £10 bet the next week. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Be the right club today.
Okay, so it's the what's it called? Is it the Desert Swing? This, Steve. We're in leg 2 of 3 of the Desert Swing.
I like to call it golf. But not many people seem to like doing that. That's
golf,
just my little thing.
That would have caught on, wouldn't it? Yeah. What's the fella called who runs the tour? The bloke with the funny coloured glasses? Keith Pelly.
Yeah, Keith Pelly. Yeah, he needs to start promoting golf, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, very good. Okay, then. So it's the Omega Dubai Desert Classic, and Ian, take it away with Paddy Power's show of betting.
Yeah, so 7 places this week. Bryson DeChambeau heads are betting at 9-1. Tommy Fleetwood next in at 12-1. Louie Oosthuizen 12-1. Sergio Garcia 14-1. Henrik Stenson 16-1. Rafael Cabrera Bello 16-1. Matthew Fitzpatrick 22-1. Tyrrell Hatton 22-1 and 25-1 bar.
Is it the course with the clubhouse shaped like an eagle? Is that the one?
We had that last week.
That
Abu
was last week,
Dhabi has got the eagle.
yeah.
Oh, I thought this one was as well.
They might have another eagle. I can't
think
remember.
it is.
They've got
I'm pretty
certainly
sure
a lovely skyline. All the usual skyscrapers there.
Yeah.
You're a regular in Dubai, aren't you, Bruce?
I've
Have seen it change through the years.
I've actually been to this course, but for a pub quiz, not for golf. Believe it or not. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So my course knowledge isn't that good, unfortunately. But I think I did win a chocolate orange. But you guys have got more important and relevant knowledge about the golfers and who will win, and we'll start off, Steve, with you. You're putting up 3 this week, I believe, aren't you?
Yeah, 3 against the field.
Give us your main one.
Number 1 selection is Rafa Cabrera Bello, who is actually a Dubai resident now. He moved to Dubai in 2016, practices regularly at the Emirates Club. Says it's his favourite course in Dubai. There's actually several courses in Dubai. This one's his favourite, and it's understandable because he won there in 2012. Shot an opening round of 63. That was the second of his 3 European Tour titles. Runner-up in 2016, 6th last year. Bundles of form in the other Middle East events. He's a real desert rat. And the European Tour reported that the course is hard and fast this year. I mean, it's traditionally a big hitters course, the Emirates. Low scoring and easy, but it's reportedly playing hard and fast this year, and the rough's a bit thicker. So plays into the hands even more of Cabrera Bello because he's a very controlled operator, a very dependable swing, and he's really come on in the last 3 years since his Ryder Cup debut. He's contended in elite events. I think he's grown in confidence. He's 34 years old now. Finished 11th in 11th in Abu Dhabi last week, and just looking for all the runners. I can't see I can't see anyone more likely to get on the leaderboard this week. So I think you should have an each way bet because not the most clinical of finishers, but of all the runners, I can't imagine anyone more likely to be on the leaderboard than Rafael Cabrera Bello.
Steve, can we revisit something that we've often chatted about here? And again, obviously, I defer to your vastly superior knowledge, so I'm not trying to besmirch it. But my issue with golfers who know tracks like the back of their hand is that, they go and they have a practice round with their mates or whatever. But aren't they playing these tournaments in totally different conditions? It's like when the Open went to Troon, everyone said, this is Monty's paradise. But Monty's playing it when it's set up for the hackers. It's not, when all of a sudden the roughs round is bollocks, it's a different test, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't set up a course overnight, though. It would have played like it's going to play this week for the last month or so. And who's going to have been over there for the last month or so? Not many of them. But Rafa Cabrera Bello will have done so. I think it's an obvious advantage to be sleeping in your own bed, familiar surroundings, and obviously he does play the course when it's a little bit easier normally. But over the last month or so, it would have been reflecting the conditions this week.
Lovely. And Ian, who's your main tip?
Main tip is Louie Oosthuizen. He's been in excellent form since the beginning of October. His worldwide figures read 5th, 29th, 3rd, wins 7th and 4th. That 4th last week at Abu Dhabi included a 3rd round 75, which scuppered his chances of victory. Looking through the stats for the tournament, he ranks 2nd in driving accuracy, 3rd in greens regulation, and 7th in putting. This shows his overall game is in superb nick. Has a patchy enough record at the Emirates Golf Club, has only played twice since 2010 with 2 missed cuts, but a 3rd place finish in 2008 and a 7th place finish in 2009, showing that he can play the course well, so he's a bit of back class there. I feel he's playing the best golf out of anyone at the head of the market, and he'll be a confident selection for me this week.
Do you ever think with Louie Oosthuizen, God, I sound like I'm just trying to do your tips down here, but with Oosthuizen, there seem to be spells in his round where it just suddenly falls off the pace a little bit and it all goes wrong. And like Ernie Els, his compatriot, he carries on with this silly, gormless sort of semi-smile. It just annoys the hell out of me. I've backed him, I'm desperate for him to win, but he just looks like he doesn't care when it's all falling apart.
I think it's just the mentality some of them have. It's the same with like the likes of DJ. I always hear DJ, don't know whether he's shooting 5 under par or 10 over par. That demeanour just stays the same. Personally, I kind of like that. I don't like lads getting too high or too low. If you can stay in even keel and just play your golf, more times than not, you're going to get the results that you're looking for.
Okay, fair enough. Steve, who are you going to augment Cabrera Bello with?
I'm going to augment him with 2 Englishmen. Jordan Smith. Jordan Smith quickly shown a liking for desert golf. He won in the United Arab Emirates on the Challenge Tour. Finished 12th in the DP World Tour Championship at the end of last year. Got engaged last month, so he seems quite chipper in all his Twitter posts. Just signed for Adidas as well, I believe. So he's still a young man, 26 years of age. He won the European Open in 2017. Had a little bit of glandular fever, and his career sort of stalled for half a year. But it seems right back on track now. Finished 11th in Abu Dhabi alongside Rafa Cabrera-Bello. I'm only concentrating on players that had a warm-up last week. I think if you played in Abu Dhabi, you got a distinct advantage. It was quite a similar test to what they faced this week. And I like what I saw from Smith last week. So, yeah, they're my first two. And then the final one is Tom Lewis. 3 great rounds last week, infuriatingly bad third round. I think Lewis backers and Oosthuizen backers last week didn't enjoy that third round. But Lewis recovered on the Saturday, the final round, played really well, finished 9th. And from July onwards, he's just been churning out fantastic results. He won on the Challenge Tour in September by half the track, and then he won the Portugal Masters again in the same month, a couple of weeks later. So, yeah, I think Lewis is threatening to become the superstar that his amateur record suggested he would be. So I'm keeping faith with Lewis this week. Yeah, Cabrera-Bello, Smith and Lewis are 3 against the field.
At what point between Wednesday and Sunday last week, because it was 5 days of golf action, was your morale at its lowest? Was it when Lewis was disappearing out the back door on Saturday?
Yeah. Round three, very, very poor, birdieless front 9, and I had high hopes for Lewis. And then on the final round, Lewis and Peters were both in the each way places, and looking good for a pair of each way. And then Peters, as I say, I think I've got to leave Peters alone for a little bit. There's something not quite right there.
You know what will happen, don't you?
Well, you do know what will happen. I mean, I've got a very, very bad feeling about this. I mean, the 2 golfers that you hate, Thorbjorn Olafsson and Charles Howell, I've not backed them or tipped them this week, but I suspect they'll both win this week.
Nah, they won't, mate. Honestly, Olafsson, me and Rod Studd call him the flatterer. He just flatters, and then it just all goes wrong for him. No,
I think you're anti-handsome men, aren't you? Because you don't like how handsome he is.
What do you mean, anti-handsome men?
Well, he's just not a flatterer. It's just not true. How many titles has he won?
I know. It's just the way it is. I don't
think you like him because he's so handsome.
What do you mean? I like all sorts. You're a handsome man, aren't you? I mean, I'm no great judge, but I like you. We're going down all sorts of choppy waters here. Ian, who are you going to augment Oosthuizen with?
I have 3 more. I'll start with the next best. It's Martin Keimer. Put him up last week at his beloved Abu Dhabi. A first round 66 had me dreaming of big returns, but he started on Friday and Saturday, finished 22nd in the end. His long game was exemplary though, ranked first in the field in greens regulation. His putter was just ice cold. Surely would have been challenged for the title over the weekend. Looking at the Emirates Golf Club, he's a very solid portfolio. His form figure since 2008 reads 2nd, 4th, 31st, 13th, 4th, miscut 23rd, 19th. As I said last week, I'm repeating myself here, just needs a good week in the greens, and I'm willing to chance him again at around 40-1. The first outsider is Jason Scribner. Scribner had a very solid week in Abu Dhabi, 16th place finish, which included a 74 in really windy conditions, which kind of pushed him down the leaderboard. Looking through the stats again, he ranked 1st in driving accuracy, 10th in greens regulation, and 8th in total putting. Has had 2 appearances at Emirates Golf Club, a very progressive profile. 39th in 2017, was followed by 6th place finish last year. His last 4 worldwide starts, have been 6th, 3rd, 16th, 3rd, 6th, 16th. Sorry, that's a muddling one. Player in form in relation to his stats and recent results. I thought that we ripped a really solid each way bet around 70-1. And the last outsider, big price. I'm taking a flyer on Matt Southgate this week. Finished 42nd, but had a terrible week in the greens. Ranked in the bottom 6th on the putting stats. He ranks 2nd in driving accuracy and 4th in greens and regulation. He usually ranks in the top 25% in putting week on week in the European Tour. I'm taking that performance in the green last week as an outlier. 200-1 looked a solid each way proposition to me this week.
Steve, if you had to back one of Ian's tips, who would it be?
Oosthuizen. Yeah, it's hard to see Oosthuizen having a bad week. I love the way Ian uses the word outlier. I must start adding that to my vocabulary.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Absolute beauty, isn't it?
It is a beauty. And Ian, which of Steve's 3 would you be most keen to back?
Probably Tom Lewis. He was a big eye catcher for me last week.
Okay. While Ian was doing that, I was looking at pictures of Torrey Pines. You're saying he's ravishingly handsome, Steve, yeah?
I think so, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. I mean, as far as men go, yeah. I'm not coming out or anything, but Yeah, I do think, the idea that he's a flatterer might stem from the fact he could be a male model or something. He sort of swans around looking good. But yeah, his actual win ratio is fantastic. So
you know what it's like. You back these people at the wrong times. You back them when they have their bad days, and you hate them, and then when they win, you ignore them, don't you?
That's true.
Right then, what else have we got in Dubai? What's everyone's view of Bryson DeChambeau, Steve? Were you tempted by the market leader?
I'd want to see some proof that he can perform overseas. I mean, obviously he's very successful at home, but I haven't seen enough from him globally to back him in European Tour events. Yeah, I mean, we previously discussed his conduct on the 18th green.
With Richard McAvoy.
That's it, yeah, with the token handshake. He imploded over there. I've heard reports of him smashing up a changing room in Japan when he played there once. I don't think he's as comfortable overseas. So, that was enough to put me off, really. OK, well, we'll get a quick line from each of you on the other market leaders. I want it really snappy, a quick verdict. Ian, Tommy Fleetwood.
Just looks to be out of form at present.
OK, Steve, Sergio Garcia.
Probably not got enough motivation.
OK, Henrik Stenson, Ian.
Hasn't proven enough to me in the last few months to be as short a price as he is.
OK, and Tyrell Hatton, Steve.
Was having a wrist injury over Christmas and did not get his usual level of preparation in for the new season, so I think he's a bit rusty.
Ian, have you got any top 20s? You love a top 20.
Yeah, I think Southgate could be nice, but I think he's about 10-1 for a top 20. That could be worth a little play this week.
All right, chaps, that is the European tournament done. Let's go to America next.
Follow Paddy Power on Snapchat. The username is @ThePaddyPower, and we promise there won't be any boring snaps about gigs, the weather, or the gym.
Oh, baby.
Welcome back to the Racing Post Golf Postcast. It's Bruce Millington, Steve Palmer and Paddy Powers in McLaughlin looking ahead to a belter of a tournament in America. Stunning Torrey Pines in California. It's the Farmers Insurance Open. And Ian, before we look at who's going to win, tell us how Paddy Power bet.
Yes, 8 places this week at Torrey Pines. John Ram heads are betting at 9-1. Tiger Woods next in at 14-1. Jason Day 14-1. Justin Rose 14-1. Rory McIlroy 14-1. Mark Leishman 18-1. Xander Schauffele 20-1 and 22-1 bar.
Steve, how much would you love to play Torrey Pines?
Very much.
Be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Yeah, yeah.
Thanks
I think I'd shoot about 185 though. I mean, it's really Torrey Pines South is really difficult. So I don't think I'd have a lot of fun out there as it goes.
Oh, you never
Torrey
know.
Pines North is a bit easier.
Is it?
I mean, we got round on it. We got 2 courses this week. We got a round each on the south and the north. As I say, the south is really long, really tough. 2008 US Open venue. The north was much easier traditionally, but there was a redesign at the end of 2016, and now it's only a couple of shots easier.
Well, let's find out exactly what Paddy Power have got that shot differential in for. I'm sure you must have a number on it, Ian, don't you?
I haven't looked at it this year since Monday. I've been off the last couple of days, but remembering last year, I think it was 68.9 versus 71. But there was definitely a 2.5 shot difference between north and south, if memory serves me correctly.
Would you do your followers and punters and Postcast listeners a favour by tweeting what you think the current number is during the week? Is that all right, Ian?
Yeah, if I'm in the office tomorrow morning, I'll tweet out before a play
What's
starts.
your Twitter handle?
It's @Ian_McLaughlin.
Ian_McLaughlin. Okay, so basically, so when you're looking at and it's got an S or an N, that will give you an easier way of calculating just how well your player is going. Steve, you've put 4 up. Take it away with the main man.
The main man is John Rahm. Most likely winner by a long way. Shouldn't have been double figures. I was very surprised to see double figure prices at the start of the week. He started last week under the weather. Wasn't feeling very well, and then he ended it with a nice cold putter. So that combination should ordinarily mean he's a long way down the leaderboard. But he finished 6th. He finished 6th, swinging superbly, which just shows the level he's at now. John Rahm hardly has a bad round these days. Both of his US Tour wins have come in California. 3-shot victory at Torrey Pines in 2017. Hold that memorable eagle putt down the slope there at 18, and. I just can't see how John Rahm is not in the shake-up this week, where there's sort of holes in a lot of the names behind him. He won the Hero World Challenge by 4 shots last month. I just can't get away from John Rahm.
And look at some of the names he beat, Steve, when he won it 2 years ago. Do you remember who was runner-up?
Charles Howell.
Charles Howell and C.T. Pan.
There you go.
That's
They're not
been
easy
franked,
opponents,
hasn't
are
it?
they? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Rahm is Steve's main. Oh, you've got more to add there, more meat to put on that bone.
No. How many has Ian McLaughlin got?
How many you got, Ian?
I've got 4, but my main one is the exact same as yourself.
Tell us why
good man.
in a different way to how Steve did.
Grand, so I'll just mention it's John Rahm. As Steve mentioned, he finished with the win in the Hero World Challenge and a 4th place at the DP World Championship. He picked up where he left off in 2019 with an 8th place in the Tournament Champions, and that's 6th place last week in the Desert Classic. Again, as Steve mentioned, this is the scene of his breakout victory in 2017. Was in position to go back-to-back last year. He was second after 2 rounds, but a poor weekend dropped him back to a 29th place. That's probably because he had won the Career Builder Challenge, now the Desert Classic the week before, and probably a taxing week. Looking through his California form, he has not been out of the top 30 once in 9 starts in California, so obviously loves the area. With a less taxing week La Quinta last week, he should be fresh and primed for a second win in 3 years at Torrey Pines.
Lovely. The boys are very confident there, and if you aren't confident yourself after listening to that, I don't know how much more your arm can be twisted. So the boys have got 3 other tips. Let's see if they dovetail with each other or whether they're going in entirely different directions. Steve, who are your 3 main dangers to Rahm?
The next best is Xander Schauffele, who should be second favourite. John Rahm should be clear favourite, and Xander Schauffele should be second favourite. I think there's been a big overreaction to Schauffele's course form. His course form is miscut. But he was world number 1,715th when he missed that first miscut. So he should, by rights, you miss the cut when you're that lowly in the rankings. Next time round, he was 300th in the world. So again, making the cut would have been a big achievement. Last year is the only miscut you can really criticise him for. He missed the cut by a shot, and he was in the process of adjusting to new equipment. He just signed from TaylorMade to Callaway, so he's just getting used to new tools. So there's you can forgive all those miscuts. This course does suit Xander Schauffele, no doubt about it. It's a driver's track. That is a Schauffele strength, tee to green class. And San Diego is his home city. He's playing in his home city. He was born there, went to university there, really comfortable here. And, given the form he showed in Hawaii at the start of the year, I think really disrespectful to have him so far down the lists. Round of the year so far, that's 62 in the Century Tournament Champions, and won the HSBC last year as well. So, Schauffele is the biggest danger to John Rahm.
Okay, and then who?
And then Emiliano Grillo and Siwoo Kim are the bigger price runners.
Do your Siwoo Kim thing.
I Siwoo Kim! It's shaking it. Oh, I needed that. Emiliano Grillo's the first one. He won the 2009 Junior World Championship at Torrey Pines by 4 shots as a 16-year-old. So he's always had a special place in his heart, Torrey Pines. Finished 12th there last year in this tournament. Won his maiden US Tour title in California, ended 2018 strongly. I know you think Emiliano Grillo is another player that I've stayed too loyal to, but he's still a young man, and I think this year will be his, as they all like to say, and Ian McLaughlin said just now, his breakout year. I think this might be his breakout year. So I like Grillo, and then Siwoo Kim. Again, why he's 100 to 1, I don't know. This is 23-year-old who's already won the Players' Championship. He's a 2-time US Tour champion. He won his sole Web.com Tour victory came in California. Seems to play well in California. Finished last week strongly. His driving had become a bit of an issue over the last few weeks, but found 15 of 18 greens of regulation on quite a fiddly, tricky stadium course on Sunday. So I think his swing might have clicked back into gear at the perfect time for a big run at a big price.
Lovely. Ian?
I'll have 3 more as well. Next best is Cameron Champ.
Hey!
Been waiting for a golf course where Champ can utilise his effortless power and his total driving domination on the field. Potentially this is the week, as looking through the roll of honour at Torrey Pines, big hitters off the tee usually flourish. Obviously Tiger has won here 8 times, Jason Day twice, Bubba Watson, even Scott Stallings has triumphed here, and he's a massive hitter of the golf ball. Champ is actually to complement his length and could be playing a different golf course to the field. His 2019 PGA Tour season has started brightly on courses that don't really suit his game. Form figures read 25th win, 28th, 10th, 6th, 11th, miscut. I saw this as a potential tee to green slugfest between himself and Rahm, so Champ will be my next best this week. The first outsider is Keegan Bradley. I put him up 2 weeks ago in the Sony Open. He was in the top 10 going into the weekend, but he couldn't get anything going before finishing 29th. His tee to green figures were encouraging, including 3rd in greens in regulation. Was 4th at Torrey Pines in 2017, followed that up with a 5th place last year. Obviously enjoys the tee to green test here, looks a really solid each way play this week. And the second outsider was the aforementioned Sung Jae Im. Obviously touted them up for last week's Desert Classic. One word to describe that week was frustrating. Opened around 71 and put him in a tough spot, but played sparkling golf for the next 2 days, shooting 15 under par. Was in the top 8 going into Sunday, but just completely stalled. Put his ball in the water in 18. Ended up with a 12th place finish. I haven't lost the faith, however. I'm going in again. His debut at Torrey Pines, but has been 4th and 12th in 2 starts in California. Shows to me he enjoys playing golf in the area, and he's worth another each-way investment this week.
OK, we'll get the quick one-sentence verdict on the other market leaders. Steve, on Justin Rose.
Still adjusting to new equipment. Unimpressive last week.
Ian, Jason Day.
Again, like I said, Stenson in Dubai, not in the form to prove that price at the moment.
Steve, Tiger.
Tiger, oh my word, how can it be so deep into the podcast without mentioning Tiger? Obviously very tempting. 7 of the last 20 editions of this tournament have been won by Tiger Woods. But all them were a long time ago. 2008 was the last time he won this tournament in his first outing of the year. So I'm a bit concerned that he might be a bit undercooked. And the last... Oh, sorry, I'll get carried away on Tiger Woods. Oh, yeah.
And Ian, what do you make of Rory?
He doesn't really have that much back class in California. He obviously played well in the Tournament Champions. I thought he'd be a couple of ticks bigger in the market than he is now. OK,
the final question. Which golfer, if they win, will you be kicking yourself most about because you didn't tip him? Steve?
Charles Howell III. Charles Howell III has been runner-up 3 times at this course. 6th last year. He topped the greens and regulation stats last week. Yeah, he just needs to warm the putter up slightly. He'd be bang in there.
Okay, and Ian.
Looking at the prices in the Farmers, obviously it's Jordan Spieth. If he goes in at around 33-40 to 1, I will be racking my head off a wall for a couple of days.
Blimey, 33 to 1 Spieth. What's happened to him?
Just it looks to be completely out of form. Like he shot 66 in that before he missed the cut of the Sony. So I wasn't confident enough to put him up, but I wouldn't be wanting to be laying him at 40 to 1 myself personally.
Steve, we all done from you for Torrey Pines?
Yeah, if we're going to get another Adam Long style fairy tale, I hope it's Morgan Hoffman. Whenever I see the name of Morgan Hoffman in the field, I sort of hope he wins and all my bets lose, because he's struggling with a real bad degenerative disease, isn't he? And he's doing well to even go to post. So I hope Morgan Hoffman wins this week.
How much do you stand to win on John Rahm?
John Rahm, 20 bagger, I think. And then if it's this all Spanish double, isn't it? Rafa and Rahm. If we can get Rafa and Rahm home, then that's the mortgage gone.
Is that a spitter?
It's not a spitter, but it's a mortgage spitter rather than a face spitter. I mean, it's a lovely ring to it, isn't it? The Rafa Rahm double.
Yeah, it's lovely. But what happens if it's a Rahm Morgan Hoffman playoff? Who are you pulling for?
It's a great question, and I'll pull for
it's not, because you're going for John Rahm.
I don't know. I'm quite a softie in my old age. No, I'll be pulling for Morgan.
Do you cry when you watch like TV and stuff sometimes, Steve? Because your wife's
the news.
Your wife's a phenomenal crier, isn't she? I remember you saying in your wedding speech she cries during EastEnders and things, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. She does like a cry, and obviously she's pregnant at the moment, which gets the old hormones rattling even more. So yes, it doesn't take much to set her off. But yeah, I think as I've got older, I've turned into a bit more of a crier. I think that's what happens, isn't it? The older you get, the more you cry. Jeremy Chapman, he's a phenomenal crier, isn't he?
It's good for you. It's good for you. There's no harm in it at all.
No, it is good for you.
Did you ever watch DIY SOS? That's the one programme I always go on. I mean, you cannot watch that without crying. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
honestly.
It's an incredible programme, isn't it? Yeah, they do a lot of good work there.
They certainly do. Ian, anything top 20-wise?
No, I'm going to keep the powder dry in the extra markets and Torrey Pines.
OK, let's just round up. First of all, chaps, if you only had one golf bet this week, Steve, I suspect I know what you're going to say.
It would be the Rafa Rahm double.
OK, and Ian?
John Rahm in Torrey Pines.
Let's do the solemn, clear, concise, no-nonsense summary of this week's tips. The Dubai Desert Classic, Steve Palmer.
Rafael Cabrera Bello, Jordan Smith, Thomas Lewis.
Ian?
Louie Oosthuizen, Martin Keimer, Jason Scribner and Matthew Fitzsouthgate.
And the Farmers Insurance Open, Steve?
Jonathan Rahm, Xander Schauffele, Emiliano Grillo, Siwoo Kim.
And Ian?
Jonathan Rahm, Cameron Champ, Keegan Bradley and Sung Jae In.
How about that? OK, chaps, thank you very much. Is there anything exciting between now and next Wednesday, Steve, that you're looking forward to in life?
I got a weekend at the in-laws, and my plan at the start of the week was to make sure I didn't overstate, because I didn't want to be too sort of worried about bets when I was there. but I've actually staked more than I have on any other week this year. So
is it difficult following the action when you're there?
Slightly more difficult, yeah, obviously. But
are they still up my way? Or are they down on the south coast?
They are they're in Saltdean, which is near Brighton. But as soon as you start fancying someone like John Rahm at short price, you've got no choice but to get heavily involved. So pray for Jonathan.
Okay, mate. And Ian, what have you got lined up that you're looking for? Are you still doing dry January?
I am. I'm still going strong.
Oh, it's a long month, isn't it? I mean, honestly, over the weekend, I really started flagging. It's driving me mad.
Yeah, I have a couple of cans in the fridge that are whimpering to me every time I walk past, like a dog scratching on a window. Just please drink us.
You can't do that to yourself.
I had some lovely ale last night, boys. I had 3 bottles of Sharps Atlantic. They went down a tree in the garden, cleaning the rabbit hutch.
I hate ale. Bitter is the worst drink known to man, so I don't miss that.
Well, you all sound very bitter about your dry
I'm a little bit. I'm having
a well of a time.
There is a bottle of red wine on Feb 1 that is going to get it, I tell you. Right then, chaps, thank you very much indeed. Next week, we've got the Saudi International. I presume that's a new tournament, Steve, isn't it?
Yeah, first one this year, quite controversial for obvious reasons, but they got a good feel because they've obviously waved an enormous amount of dollar at the likes of Brooks Koepka.
Okay, and we've got our familiar friend, the Phoenix Open, with the 17th hole and all that entails. So hopefully you can join us for that. In between now and then, we've got football on Thursday, racing on Friday and Monday, and we've got our Cheltenham anti-post on Tuesday. Loads going on the Postcast. Don't forget, if you enjoy these shows, do please rate, review and subscribe wherever you're watching. Hopefully we'll see you back here next Wednesday for another Racing Post Golf Postcast.
Success ain't earned, it's bought. That's why at Paddy Power, we paid the big bucks for the best tech nerds in the world to develop our new, fastest ever app. Download the new app from the App Store or Play Store now. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Give them the horn!